Hey guys, there is a lot of video on YouTube how to make a nice live edge coffee table, and it's really nice when they making it. They pushing it through this very expensive machine that just sanding it, making it straight, and all they have to do is just put some epoxy or some clear coat, some stain maybe. But what if you don't have a machine like that? Well, I don't have a machine like that, and I'm gonna try to make a coffee table, a live edge coffee table without those machines, just using just a regular circular sander. I picked it up from Canadian Tire for 40 bucks, and we'll see how it's gonna look like. So I'm gonna use epoxy for a very first time as well. So if you're thinking about making a live edge table, then just stay tuned, watch the video, and at least you're gonna have a good idea what you're gonna have once you're done. So let's do it. I'm gonna start with the number 40 sandpaper, and then I'm gonna work my way up. It depends how smooth I want it. I kind of like it rough. Ooh, I like it rough. So I'll just start with number 44 now. I don't know if you can tell, but there is still these sharp lines, these saw marks, which I don't think they're gonna come out. So I guess I just gotta leave them in there. It gives a little character to the wood. I don't mind. See, this is the difference after sanding it with 40 grit, and this is, I haven't even touched it yet. So this is what it is. I sanded as much as I could. And you know what? I'm thinking about just leaving it like this. I know I said I'm gonna use the 80 grit, 100 grit, 150, maybe even 200, but that would make it very, very smooth. And even like this, it's not bad with the 40 grit, and I kind of like it. So I'm gonna try it like this. Well, if I screw it up, learn from my mistake, but I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm just kidding. It's actually very light. It's not heavy at all. Here is the stump. That's going to be the bottom of that coffee table, the giant cookie. I paid an extra 40 bucks to the guy to sand it. I think he did a pretty good job. Now I just have to find a way to make this straight. And I don't think I'm going to stain the base of the table. I think I'm just gonna put clear coat and leave it at that. We'll see. The average height for a coffee table, it's around 16 inches, 16 and a half, 17 inch. I'm probably gonna make this a little higher, maybe around 17, 17 and a half maybe. Let's make it 17. I'm gonna mark it at least 2 places. And I'm gonna use a laser to make it level, and probably a chainsaw to cut this straight, which is gonna be interesting. I'm just gonna use my hoist. all around. I'm gonna try to cut it down straight. So I'm gonna use this pen. Yeah, something like that. Let's see. I think I'm gonna chop this off here because it's sticking out too far and very sharp. I'm gonna hang this up, probably on a hoist, and I'm gonna varnish it. No stain on this one, just varnish. So after I applied the stain on my cookie, it got a lot darker than I thought it's going to be. So I decided to sand it a little bit. Hopefully I can make it lighter. Worst case scenario, I'm just gonna sand it off. But let's just give it a light sand with a 120 grit, just lightly, and see where we are. It's a lot better. Now I can actually see the grains and the design in the wood. With the root, with the base, the stump, this is how it's gonna look like roughly. So I flipped it over and I'm gonna try to cover the cracks. So the epoxy, when I do the epoxy, it's not gonna, go just through it. So I have to seal the cracks on the back. And I'm just gonna use some cardboard box. I don't have a mill or a router, so at the end, I can't really, shave off all the excess stuff that's gonna be there. So I have to minimize the overflow. So I'm just gonna staple this as much as I can. And hope for the best. The whole point of this video is can I get it done without all the expensive machines? And well, I guess we'll see. Now that I covered up most of the major cracks that I think they would come through, it's time to take it inside because it has to be inside for me to do the epoxy. One of these. Oh, this is a lot thicker. Here comes the hardener, the resin. I'm just gonna need a very small amount of coloring in there, I think. This should be enough. I have to do this smart, so I can't just flood the whole thing and then let the machines clean it after. I have to do this smart because I have to like hand sanding it. I have to hand sand it after, so I have to do smart about this. It's gonna take a while, as it seems. In the bigger gaps, I'm gonna try to pour it. I came up with an idea that I bought this little toy from Walmart. It's a little, just a little guy climbing. I bought it for $10, and I'm gonna put it into this crack that it's trying to climbing up. Sometimes people, what they do, they build a whole mold around the wood and they pour the epoxy all around it, and then what you have is an epoxy table with wood in it. But I didn't want that. I want live edge wood table with epoxy in it. I set the whole thing with a 80 grid, 120. I didn't do 1,000 and 2,000 like other people do. I'm just gonna squeegee the whole thing everywhere and let it level itself out. I asked my brother to do the polishing because he's much better at it than I am.